will start now promoting this idea good governance, good governance, good governance, and this enters the theory of public administration. Public administration or development, political science, everywhere. People started saying, yes, this is the era of good governance. So see, what was the driving force behind this idea? World Bank. What was the basis of this concept coming from? The financial relationship between developed and developing. Right? So ultimately, when I say that governance, right, or good governance is a neo-liberal term. What does this indicate? This indicates that it is coming from basically the Western countries, and secondly, emerging out of the economic relationship or globalization context. See, it was the idea of good governance responsible for So basically the good governance agenda triggered globalization. Nothing wrong, but it can be considered as neoliberal term coming from Western countries. It had specific economic interest, economic orientation, and it focused on open markets, free trade. So the biggest purpose, or probably the most relevant purpose of the good governance agenda was free market economy. Right? And obviously many in the developing countries were not ready for this. Right? This is one very important aspect. So if I say that, okay, how the notion of governance, how the notion of accountability transforms under governance. Right? How 𝗫𝗏 is changing under globalization. How the third world countries have been impacted under this agenda. So see, initially, most of the developing countries borrowed this concept. And they obviously had no other choice because they were not experienced. Plus, they had in their DNA of imitating the West. Macaulay. What did Macaulay do? Education. Wood's Dispatch 1854 and Macaulay Minutes. Basically, Macaulay's purpose was to create the clerks for the bureaucracy. And he believed that we are very good clerical material. That is what he believed. And they were correct. Babu. See, we all are aspiring for Babu-dom, that is what we do. T.N. Session has used a very radical term for the bureaucrats, in spite of being a bureaucrat himself. Polished prostitutes. That interview became very infamous also. He was the topper of the IAS civil services, right? So, it is quite obvious that the nature of the education system which was created, right, and the kind of administrative system which was filling its post or positions, higher position from the kind of people who were educated in this country. This is a kind of a bargaining relationship, right? This is the kind of system we want. What is the source of the people who will be filling these positions? The same education system. That is why you will find that initially people coming from certain universities in India only into civil services. Right? That was the elite phase of civil services. So, they were coming, but it's okay, right? So, ultimately, the idea was that, okay, the nature of administrative change or reform which is needed in these countries can only be influenced by these agendas. So initially what happened? Countries like India also and many other third world countries, they started adopting their methods. What was simply their method? Their method was that focus on industrial development. Focus on free market, even though we did not do it instantly, thanks to Nehru and Nehru's inclination towards socialism. Nehruvian socialism, right? So we did not do it instantly, right? But obviously it was a global relationship and we cannot remain isolated for long. And that is why over the time, even though you can say that we were a traditional bureaucracy, Weberian model of bureaucracy, yes we were. But the idea was that the same kind of administration was used by them for development, right? This is what they wanted. They wanted that your existing administration, your existing administrative system will achieve the goals of development if you follow what we are saying. So what is the first impact? The first impact is that you are no more free as a nation. You cannot make independent decisions. Okay. Thirdly, your bureaucracy and whatever reforms will be done in this bureaucracy will be as per our requirement. So we started following, I'm not saying exactly India followed it, but most of the third world countries, they started adopting their model of reform till 1970s, 80s, fine, but that 60s and 70s, sorry, but that started failing and that is why they bring the idea of governance. So unka model kya tha? What was the Western model? Let us see. What was the Western model of development? This is the reason that why governance, capitalism and democracy, they survive together. And most of the countries in the world today, they are moving towards democracy and consequently towards capitalism. It is the entire agenda of these multilateral institutions. What is the Western model of development? Western model of development, we say, is a growth-centric, managerial model. It's a growth-centric managerial model where what is believed? It is believed that we can trickle down the belief is that we can trickle down the growth So all those who may be confused, this is not accountability and control. This is the analysis of your Unit 1, Foundation for your Development Administration, Comparative Public Administration, Women and Development, okay, Western versus non-Western models of development.